Hi, so I decided to create this new series because I don't have another show until January, so I might as well make the time go by while we're waiting. This series will be me recapping and explaining some of my favourite musicals and yours too. So to see more, make sure you like and follow so that I can keep you guys entertained. Today's musical is Beetlejuice the Musical. Originally performed in Broadway and now on the West End, Beetlejuice the Musical is an R-rated comedy musical that highlights and exaggerates the comedic and unseriousness of the original Tim Burton's Beetlejuice from the 1988 original film, you guessed it, Beetlejuice. Without even knowing it, you've probably heard of Beetlejuice soundtrack either on TikTok or Musical.ly. It's been a main trend maker with songs like Say My Name, What I Know Now, and Prologue Invisible, and many other songs that you probably don't even recognise and I can't remember. In my personal opinion, it is my favourite musical. Not only does it strive off the original plot of the film, but it also creates its own unique spins and twists that are inspired by the film's background. This is the Google description of Beetlejuice the Musical. So, I didn't say this. Beetlejuice follows a recently deceased couple, Adam and Barbara Maitland, and a goth teenager, Lydia Dietz. Desperate to reclaim their home from Lydia's family, the Maitlands team up with Beetlejuice, a bioexorcist demon who wants to be seen by the living. Ultimately, Lydia and the ghost must band together and fend off Beetlejuice's chaotic plans. That was absolutely awesome. I'm going to explain it through the two acts of this show, starting with Act 1, The New Inhabitants. The musical opens at the funeral of Emily Dietz, the loving mother of Lydia Dietz and the loving wife of Charles Dietz. Lydia feels completely unseen by her work-obsessed father Charles. Meanwhile, Adam and Barbara Maitland, the two couples from the beginning of the musical, accidentally die in their own house. On the Broadway version, they fall through the floorboards, and on the West End version, they get electrocuted. Trapped as ghosts, they find themselves unable to leave their house, aka making it a haunted house. Beetlejuice breaks the fourth wall throughout the entire of the musical to introduce himself. He realises that he can't be seen or touched by the living humans unless they say his name 3 times. 3 times in a row, it must be spoken unbroken. After this, Charles and his life coach and secret lover, Delia, buy the Maitland's house and move in with Lydia. Lydia soon discovers the ghostly Maitland, and the three form an unlikely bond. Now time for Act 2, Showdown and Resolution. Lots of stuff happens in Act 2. Act 1 is basically just Lydia being able to meet Beetlejuice for the first time, and at the end of it, during the Banana Boat song, Lydia finally summoning Beetlejuice and saying his name. Wow, what the hell? Chaos erupts as Beetlejuice wreaks havoc, forcing the living and the dead to navigate bizarre and deadly rules of the Netherworld. In a desperate bid to gain power and escape the afterlife, Beetlejuice forces Lydia into a bizarre arranged marriage. It's a visa thing. To save her, Charles, Delia, and the Maitlands work together to crash the wedding. Ultimately, they realise the value of their blended, found family. Beetlejuice is one of those shows that would have you bawling to songs at one point, like Dead Mum or What I Know Now, and then have you absolutely shitting yourself with laughter with songs like The Whole Being Dead Thing, Part 1 and Part 2, Ready Set Not Yet, Banana Boat, the song which, fun fact, originated from the original film. It's one of those musicals that takes you on an emotional roller coaster throughout and you really can't say much about it. My personal favourite songs in the show are The Whole Being Dead Thing, the second song to introduce the musical in general, if you don't count the prologue song.
And such a bold departure from the original source material! Hey folks, ain't it pretty?
And that beautiful sound from Act 2, which I think doesn't get talked a lot about, which was also a trend.
But now they all see you're out of my grave because of that shrill symphony.
The role of Beetlejuice, the actor in any rendition of the musical, is a dream role to many aspiring actors for the big stage. Tenor heavy role allows an actor to basically talk to the audience and just mess around throughout the entire running of the show. When I first went to see it, one thing I enjoyed about the show was its humour performed through the actors and dialogue of the stage. One of my favourite lines is from the scene between Beetlejuice when he is training Barbara and Adam to scare and haunt their house, only to realise that they aren't good at anything. They are not good enough and they can't scare for the life of them in the song Fight of Their Lives, which I think is an underrated song for it being, a very big song in the musical. And at the end of the scene, he walks out while saying, "Hey Adam, go fuck yourself," then proceeding to slam the door and walk out behind them. Beetlejuice is this lonely guy. He is basically one of those people who've never had friends before and he does not know. He's an unrestricted toddler. just a very, very sexual. That's what I've got to say about the plot. So now I'm going to get onto some of my favourite characters, some of my favourite songs, and some of my favourite costumes, which that's one of my favourite parts to talk about. So, for Beetlejuice the musical, my favourite character, unbelievably, really funny to guess, is Beetlejuice.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
The actor who plays him when I went to go see him, David Finn, he played an amazing Beetlejuice. It's one of those shows where you can't really argue with the casting. Like, it was one of the perfect casting I have ever seen. Every person fit their character so well. Every line was delivered perfectly. If someone was to mess up, which when I went to go see it, I don't think anything messed up, but they are that kind of cast to be able to play it off and make it look a part of it, which I really like. Why am I still wearing my glasses? It is a show that if you mess up on, you can instantly, work off of it. But the actor of Beetlejuice, like, you wouldn't even be able to tell if something went wrong or not. They have the control of the stage as much as they want. The person who plays Beetlejuice is basically their own mini director on stage. The ad-libs they can add are insane. And those are the kind of roles I like. I love comedic roles, and I love it when people take those very far and they're able to express their own sense of humour to the character, which I think Beetlejuice is literally all about. Talking about characters, one of my favourite costumes in this show. Now, costumes played a very big role into this, and I have to say some of my favourite costumes throughout the entire of the show are the ensemble costumes. I don't think they get enough recognition. One of my favourite scenes, where it's costume-wise in general, is the Netherworld scene where Lydia and Charles go to... Sorry, there's spoilers in this. When Lydia and Charles go to the Netherworld to try and find Lydia's mum, all of the dead people, like all the Netherworld people, are there, and each ensemble member is, like, they're decorated in their own, like, character. So, like, when you look onto the stage, you can see all these, like, dead people, and, like, you're able to tell, like, looking at each of their designs, you are able to tell, like, oh, you died from this, you died from that, you died from that. And I think it is so cool, because I don't think a lot of musicals do that. Like, they don't give an ensemble their own unique personality. But I feel like Beetlejuice does that perfectly well, because every person is able to... Sorry, I just spat there. Every person is able to make their own dynamic and their own character. One of my favourite ensemble bits were the three people in That Beautiful Sound. The neighbours, I thought they were really funny. Who else? You got the Girl Scout girl. She wasn't in it for a long time, but I really loved how they showed her presence on stage, which I think not a lot of people, recognise a lot, and I really appreciate it. It's really cute. Miss Argentina was also a really good, like, semi-side character. She was funny. I loved Miss Argentina. Her solo. The set was absolutely incredible. The set for Beetlejuice was one of those things that you couldn't argue about. The props, the areas, the furniture on the stage, like, the set design and everything. It was so perfect. When I went to go see it, I fell in love with the stage immediately. Not only is the opening picture of the stage... Wait, this is the opening... Like, when you walk in, this is what the show would look like when you walked in. Puppetry is also something that they use very heavily in this show with the sandworm. He's not in it at all in the show, but, like, when you see him for the first time in the whole being dead thing with the line, "There's a giant snake here," you're genuinely in awe. Like, it is an incredible character that you don't really see a lot in musicals. Like, puppetry isn't used a lot, so it's like one of the things you really gotta, like, take into consideration. But the set was genuinely perfect, and I don't think I could have thought of anything else that fit the musical like that. But yeah, that's what I've got to say. I can make a separate video analysing every other costume, every other set, every other prop, and I can just do other summaries of deeper explanations into Beetlejuice. So with that all said and done, make sure you drop your recommendations on what shows you want me to do or what musicals you'd like me to do, and make sure not to forget to like and follow. Bye!